Welcome back to TITV. Your phone calls and emails coming up a bit later, but first time to talk football recruiting. A Nike Combine was held in Tuscaloosa on Saturday, Rodney. Some of the top high school football players in the country were on hand, and this young man right here passes the eye test. We know how defensive linemen are in demand. Quay Evans out of Morton, Mississippi. He's only going to be a junior.
Yep.
But this guy is a man.
Amazing. Yeah, and yeah, hey, listen, he's already over 300 pounds, and he can move like that. Gary's possibly could be the #1 defensive tackle in the country coming out in the 2012 class. You know, a lot of people said, hey, he was committed to Ole Miss, but now I talked to his high school coach who told me several weeks ago that he wasn't actually committed to Ole Miss and that Alabama was a very, very strong contender for Quay Evans. Again, he's an outstanding prospect. He told us, he's told others that Alabama's a strong leader at this point.
Well, he is going to have a lot of options as far as his college choice is concerned, and good student as well. And as we said, you gonna throw your pen on me here? What are you doing? And he wasn't the only top prospect, though, that was in town for the Combine. Some are committed to Alabama, some are still looking. Let's start out with a star quarterback from just up the road in Newtown.
Jameis Winston, Gary, perhaps one of the best in the country, certainly coming out in the 2012 class, has offers from all over. And I think right now, Alabama's going to be the team to beat. I know he likes Oklahoma, and again, he's a national-type prospect, and he's got schools all over the country, as I mentioned.
D. Hart, of course, his teammate, who we'll talk about in a minute, already committed to Alabama, but Hart's a running back and quick, powerful.
Alabama, Michigan, Auburn, those are his top three. Alabama and Auburn have kind of been the top two. And, you know, I think he really likes Alabama quite a bit. He's going to take a visit to Auburn here pretty quickly and then take another visit to Alabama and make a decision. Haseen Clinton-Dix, of course, we had him on our show several weeks ago, committed to Alabama already, one of the top safeties in the country. And, you know, I talked to him there. You see the video with last Saturday, and he told me point blank he is extremely solid to Alabama. He's not thinking about wavering, even though he could go anywhere he wants.
And another Crimson Tide commitment at the Nike Combine, Daryl Collins, a wide receiver out of Gadsden City.
Yep, Daryl's an excellent athlete, could play, you know, wide receiver, could even play on defense, Gary, and had an excellent showing there, had a lot of offers, and committed fairly early to Alabama.
And another young man in town for the Combine, that's an Alabama commitment, Pensacola, Florida defensive end, DJ Pettway. Rodney, you had a chance to talk one-on-one with DJ, and we're going to hear that conversation right now.
DJ, kind of talk about your commitment, why you picked Alabama.
It's just the tradition, and it just has a nice hometown feeling. You know, I came up here a couple times and just got showed around, and it feels like a perfect place for me. I can see myself living here the next 4 years.
Kind of talk about the position that Alabama's recruiting you to play.
Well, they want me to play defensive end, but you know that's something like in a 3-4, that's somewhat like a linebacker a little bit. So I don't know. I have to just wait and see.
Obviously, you're a pass rusher. What have they told you about your skills that they like?
They just like that I'm big and I can pass rush. Also, I can play the run, and I can go on the other side and play the pass.
Kind of talk about the coaching staff here, Nick Saban, his NFL background, and maybe what kind of impact that might have had in your decision.
Oh, he has a great background, and all the coaches here have great backgrounds. You know, Coach Davis, the D-line coach, and Coach Saban. He knows a lot about the game, and just a good coach to have.
Now your decision, obviously, you have a lot of schools, Florida State, close to home, and again, a lot of big-time programs after you. Have they continued to recruit you?
A little bit, not as much, but they kind of slowed down since the commitment.
Now your commitment is solid?
Yes, sir. It's very solid.
Okay, good. So when are you coming up here are you going to stay up here this weekend for any length of time to visit?
I'm coming back for a camp in about a month, and me and my family, and we're just going to show us around and stay up for a little bit.
So how excited are you?
I'm ecstatic. I can't wait.
All right, good conversation there with DJ Pettway. You watched him at the Combine. You've watched film of him. Defensive end is what he's being listed at, but he is only 6'2". Do you see him staying on the outside, possibly moving inside? Or?
You never know, but, you know, Gary, when you look at him, if you look back, do you remember Chris Hood that came out of Town Creek several years ago? He kind of reminds me of Chris Hood coming out of high school body-wise, and, you know, that quickness that Chris Hood had. Now, you know, DJ could grow, as you mentioned, and put on more weight and become a defensive end, so we'll just have to see. But right now, he's talking about possibly being a jack linebacker.
Good football player and sounds firm. in his commitment to Alabama. Well, coming up, time to take some phone calls from you. 348-9882, that's 205-348-WVUA, the number from anywhere in Alabama or anywhere you're watching this from. Or you can email us, TITV@WVUATV.com. Your comments and questions coming up next when the program continues.